Welcome back.
Were you playing something?
I was. I bought this.
What is that?
It's like a drum people use for meditation, and I like the sound.
Okay,
And so
cool.
now I own it.
Well, thanks for the easy cold open for the episode. That's great.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that.
problem. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, that's a great way to do
Roll the actual intro.
it. Oh man.
Let's go.
What a lovely day!
Andy, there's a whole world out there. Jump in.
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
You must always pay strict attention.
I was just completely enamored by it the entire time.
Dude, he did not have to go that hard.
I know, man. Isn't it wild?
The Jared cast.
So it begins.
Hello. Good morning.
Smoky.
Good morning, audience. My name is Jared A. With me is my lovely co-host, co-producer Jared L. And welcome to the Jared Cast, where we talk about 2 to 3 movies and some other stuff. Today is a pretty interesting episode because we kind of chose everything last minute and. Not last minute, but like
We were completely unprepared, and we haven't even seen the movies we're talking about.
no. But like usually we decide earlier, but we decided like to do weird movies today. The weirdest that we could find. I had actually seen my pick before, so I knew that Greener Grass would be fun to show Jared, but neither of us had seen the Greasy Strangler. So
And now we both have.
and so I think this is gonna be a really I know there's before the Greasy Strangler and life after the Greasy Strangler and whatever else. I saw it with my brother too, so it was like kind of weird. I don't know. Yeah. Very, very interesting group of movies we got here today. I hope we do this like if you want to do like more specific versions of this topic, I'm down to do it again because there were a lot of weird movies I wanted to pick too.
Twould be down.
Yeah. But before that, we got a really interesting top 5. Jared, why don't you let the people know?
Yeah, we are doing a recasting. It's less of a top 5 and more of a just 5. But this is our recasting of 5 characters from Star Wars. You'll see we picked Star Wars because we like pissing people off, essentially. We did a good job last week. Now we want to keep that ball rolling. And so we're going to fuck with a beloved film and a beloved film franchise. And I'm greedy, so I'm going to start first. I'm taking the reins.
Do it.
And I'm gonna start big. We're starting with Luke, the man himself. And I picked somebody who's got the chops, but they haven't been allowed to shine. And I think with enough pressure, they would. They need to have like they've fallen off since their grand debut.
I see.
And they need something to kick them back into gear.
Okay.
And I think they would be a great role for this. I'm going Miles Teller as Luke Skywalker.
Interesting.
Yeah. It could be the worst decision I've ever made, or you could fucking kill it. But either way, I'm going to blow a lot of money and potentially fuck it up with Miles Teller.
You know he was in like the top 3 running to like get Han Solo, young Han Solo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's got the swagger for Han.
Yeah,
but I think he's got the weird nervous incest energy that Luke's got.
Dude. First of all, I agree. But it was interesting because like I've never seen a race like for a part so public until
it's
Han
weird
Solo.
that they let us know.
Yeah, so it was between him, Alden Ehrenreich, and eventually got the part, and man, I forget his name, but the guy who played Tony in Brooklyn, who I think, yeah, he was my
that would've been
favorite.
interesting. Yeah, I would have fucked with that.
Yeah, but what we got is what we got. But it's okay.
Yeah.
I actually like Miles Teller for Luke. That's funny. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a bit of a curveball pick, but I think it could pay off.
yeah. Because he's already kind of whiny.
Yeah.
It
And like
works.
he's got like superhero movie experience, and so he can do like action. He knows the ropes at least. He just needs to do a better job.
Exactly. My Luke Skywalker will be played by one of the stars of Stranger Things, Joe Keery, who plays Steve on the show. I love this guy. I love this actor. And I think he has a good handle on like a very unconventional hero type. But he's also like pretty young. He could pass for a farm boy, and then you could age him up if you need to later on. And then, and I love the dynamic of Steve's character in Stranger Things, and that happens over a very long period of time. But at the same time, like, the fact that an actor can even handle that as one of the series leads is really cool. He's got a lot of he's got a lot of like swagger that you immediately know is fragile, but the vulnerability underneath that is really really key, not just for that part, but for the other parts that I've seen him play. And so that's why I really like Joe Keery.
Yeah, I think that's honestly perfect. I think you nailed it. Have you heard his music, by the way? It's
No,
pretty good.
I didn't know he did
Yeah.
music.
It's like kind of 80s synthy type shit.
Oh, wow.
With a tinge of sad boy.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I think potential to be a farm boy is the best criteria for Luke I've ever.
Right? Like
Which also Miles Teller
Miles Teller, yeah, exactly.
I
Just
could
put him
see
in a
that
flannel.
motherfucker drive a tractor.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, Luke was the hardest for me to pick because I was between like 3 people for Leia, but man, that was I'm glad I thought of it 2 minutes before we started recording.
We'll do Leia next. We'll get the other half. Leia, for me, she's got a line that she says, "I don't need saving," and so I kind of ran with that. That was kind of her character for me. So I picked an actress who never needs saving, and that's Emilia Clarke,
Hell
resident badass Emilia Clarke.
So good.
Yeah, from Game of Thrones fame, if the name doesn't strike a bell. Everybody's favorite Targaryen. Yeah, she's great. Terminator, she's a badass.
Did you watch that Terminator?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was okay.
Okay.
I feel like
did
I
not-
haven't enjoyed a Terminator since like the first 2.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has. But I missed out on that one. I should check it out. I love Emilia Clarke as well. She's actually also related to Solo, a Star Wars
That's
story.
true. Yeah, I forgot that she was in that.
My Leia is also a well received badass but also like Joe Keery from the television side of things. I picked Chloe Bennett from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think she's a heavy hitter of an actress. Being a series lead for 8 seasons is not easy at all. And she kind of starts out as this like dick hacker, but then slowly turns into a superhero, and or a spy and then a superhero. It's really really cool to see that. But like I just love the way that she handles action scenes and the way that she handles like interpersonal drama within a group dynamic. So yeah, Chloe Bennett. I hope she appears in more movies too, because just even if obviously this will never happen, but like even
Unless.
even so, I would love to see her like take on lead roles in movies and stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah. I have not seen Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., so over my head, but I'm sure it's a great pick.
It's all right. It's not great, but
I'm sure it's perfect.
she's the best part of the series.
Yeah. Mine, this one kind of fucks up the universe a bit. He is not attached to Solo, but he is directly in the main storyline of Star Wars.
Oh, good.
But we're recasting him. So I needed a cool womanizing motherfucker for Han Solo. Someone who's badass, someone who can come with the quips, someone who can carry themselves with that confidence. So I picked he's becoming one of my favorite actors working. I just love everything he's in. Mr. Oscar Isaac as Han Solo.
Ooh,
Right?
perfect.
I would fuck with it. Sure, we have to trash all those movies, but we're doing that anyways. So like, who cares? Canonically, it wouldn't make sense, but why would we keep those films anyways if we're recast?
Sure. I love Oscar Isaac, man.
Yeah.
So like, would you have him like pretty much play like the same Han Solo, like same like?
Yeah, I
Would
think
any-
so. I think he would end up playing it a little more humble, which would be interesting. I think it might ruin or it might improve Han Solo. I'd have to see. But yeah, I think pretty much same as Harrison Ford, almost honestly.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because he's I think a
Yeah.
better actor than Harrison Ford in a lot of
Yeah,
different
and
ways.
everybody says he's the Guatemalan Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, I forgot that everyone says that.
Every single person, whenever you mention Oscar Isaac, they're like, "Oh yeah, Guatemalan Harrison Ford." of
How could I
course."
possibly forget? How could I possibly forget? My Han Solo is I guess the British Han Solo.
Ooh.
I went with the British dude. I think having the accent would be really cool too. I think also recently he's just gotten so much like thirst on the internet, and that's what you want. That's what I want out of a Han Solo. I don't care about being cool. I don't care about the Millennium Falcon. I just want the internet.
What?
I just want the internet
Some
to
Goomers.
yeah. I just wanted people to drip on their phones, drooling over this guy. And it's of course Dev Patel, who is starring in The Green Knight this year
Hype.
for A24. Yeah, I think he's cool, and he's absolutely slaughtered every single part that he's been in
Yeah.
since Slumdog Millionaire. I hate Chappie, but he's like the best part of that movie. Yeah, Dev Patel, Han Solo, for the win. I hate that I do that on accident.
I think he'd be fantastic for the role. But if I think we're doing pure moisture on the floors of theaters, I think Oscar Isaac's got him a little beat.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But no, I really fuck with that pick. We'll go Obi-Wan Kenobi. Fuck it.
Let's do it.
For this, I wanted somebody wise,
Mm.
someone who can pass on a lot of knowledge, but still hold their own and be a little fucking badass.
Mm.
I think this guy's hanging on to his badassness in his career a bit too much. I think he needs to start transitioning into his old man phase. And that's Mr. Don Cheadle
Okay.
as Han Solo, or as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I was really hoping you were gonna say Gary Busey.
I'd like to change my pick.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's so awesome. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't look that old though. Would you age him up?
No, because I imagine that I was going like early franchise. So like I just kind of pictured New Hope ish for this. And I
Mm.
think 56 is a decent age. I think like some makeup and stuff, but I don't think we need to like go full aging him up. And then he'll just age with the series.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
I also went with someone slightly younger. She's only in her 50s, but I went with Kate Blanchett for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like.
I love Kate Blanchett. In my mind, I would probably even put her above Meryl Streep because she's so excellent. She's not afraid to do like franchise stuff either. And she still brings like the same amount of like thunder and power to every single to even like small bit parts like the villain in Thor Ragnarok, like where she doesn't have that much screen time, she still kills it. And I think my Obi-Wan Kenobi would be less of like a sage and more of like a like I'd be thinking less of the wise sage part and more of like the desert hermit part. Like I want him to, like, you know how Tom Hardy looks in the beginning of Mad Max Fury Road. Like that's kind of how I want Kate Blanchett to look. I want sand in her hair. I want her to
Like
look
a
kind of
worn warrior type.
yeah. Like I want her to look like I want like a lizard to hang out of her mouth when she's biting it down and stuff like that. I want her to be kind of crazy. And yeah, like you want like a heavy hitting Oscar Academy Award type actor for something like Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's my favorite Star Wars character of all time, I think. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I for Darth Vader, interesting character to recast.
Yeah.
For many reasons. So I kind of picked a tandem duo, one to do
Ooh.
the body, one to do the voice.
Nice.
And for me, I love Darth Vader, classic character. We all know and love him. Something he was kind of missing for me was the mental side of being evil. He doesn't quite have the strategies that I was wanting. He doesn't quite have that like mental fortitude. So, for the voice of Darth Vader, I went with Anthony Hopkins. We know
Ooh.
he can play a villain. So like a more like soft kind of conniving Darth Vader would be fucking sick. But I
Yeah.
think he could also be intimidating as well. So for the intimidating large man, uh, get it done with fists and fury type, I'm doing Josh Brolin to
Ooh.
play the body of Anthony Hopkins as Darth Vader.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Would you make any changes to the suit?
Um, make it sexy. No, I.
What?
No, honestly, I like the suit. I'd make it like look less plasticky, but
Yeah.
I think you could keep the suit. I'd tone down the heavy breathing a lot,
Hmm.
and I think I would change the voice more than the suit. But like you can't really fuck with Darth Vader's suit too much.
Yeah. I might. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
Like
mean, go for it.
like I kind of want like to see the for this story at least, and for this actors too. I want to see the tension between like man and machine in his body, because Darth Vader is like super intimidating in the first movie, but then in Empire they reveal like, oh snap, like he's actually really vulnerable. He's actually really fragile. Even though he has all this power, even though he wields the dark side of the Force so powerfully and is so intimidating and has an army, he still relies on something to help him breathe. And so, like, I want to see like an air pump like hanging out of his side and stuff.
Okay.
Like, I want to see him
Motherfucker's like an iron lung.
yeah, like I want to see him struggle for every single hit. And so, like, even though you're rooting against him, even though he's fighting the characters, I want to see like. I want to see him in pain every time he uses his powers, because he's a really power, and I also really love that even in comics. When I read comics, like a lot of the X-Men are my favorite characters, and a lot of their powers hurt when they use them, even though they're more powerful than the Avengers. So I really like that, and I want that for my Darth Vader, and I think someone who would be really great at handling that kind of a part would be Dave Bautista.
Ooh.
Yeah. No other. I don't need another voice person for it, because he's already got a nice deep voice. He's got a lot of range. He does good action comedy. He does good family movies. He's about to do like a really awesome sci-fi role in Dune. And yeah, like I'm a big believer in him, and I think of the WWE stars, I think he's the best pure actor to come out of wrestling into Hollywood. And
Hulk Hogan would like a word, but that's fine.
I would have said John Cena, but I still can't see him, so it's fine.
Yeah, never. It's weird that he's only done voiceover work.
I really liked F9, but I couldn't see John Cena. I don't know. Yeah, and he's also like a big like force of nature of a person, so I like it.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty rad pick. I think you killed it. Let us know who you would cast. DM us. Call to action. Audience engagement.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk about Star Wars, though, because it's not fucking weird enough. But you know what is? The Greasy Strangler.
Dude.
This movie. But before we do...
Cool.
Bad reviews.
We've got our favorite segment. Jared reads
Yo.
poorly written reviews of movies that we're watching because it's funny and it makes him laugh and stuff. This installment comes from Star Luna, saying there is no excuse, giving it a 1 out of 10. There is no excuse for this movie to exist. None. I will likely have PTSD every time I go to a car wash now because some things just can't be unseen. Sometimes the phrase hootie tootie disco cutie pops into my brain just to torment me. I can't even cook bacon anymore because the sight of grease induces flashbacks. I saw this at Phoenix Film Festival. When the screening was over, I went home and attempted to bleach my brain. The following morning, at the next horror movie, we all discussed the trauma inflicted by this film. None of us are likely to recover. We
No.
considered a support group, but frankly, we were too afraid to continue reliving the details. I wish I could forget. Oh, how I wish I could forget. This movie has zero redeeming qualities, not just as a horror film, but a film in general. I didn't laugh. I didn't get scared. I mostly just wanted to throw up. Do not, under any circumstances, see this film. You've been warned.
Oh man, they got so hurt.
Yeah,
They got
they
so
are
hurt.
perfectly offended by it.
Dude, I had to like eat like Skittles to get the imaginary taste of grease out of my mouth.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greasy Strangler follows the story of Big Ronnie, played by Michael St. Michaels, and Big Braden, played by Sky Elobar. They run a walking disco tour around LA when a sexy, alluring woman named Janet, played by Elizabeth Durazo, comes on the tour. They begins a competition between father and son for her love. Meanwhile, there's a serial killer on the loose who dresses himself up in bacon grease, brutally murders and cannibalizes victims, cleans himself in a car wash, and then goes about his day. um, I think it's a beautiful intellectual satirical take on nepotism, fatherhood, American consumerism, and dietary habits. Not really.
Habits.
It's a dumpster fire of a film,
Dude.
but a welcome one. I enjoyed watching it. Like
Yeah.
I had a good time. I was entertained. Besides that, I don't know if it had any real redeeming qualities. It was creative. Uh, the production design was funny. The
Yeah.
acting is insane. They found their style and they stuck with it. Um, like they knew what they were making, and I think they did a decent job making it. It was the production companies behind it include Draft House Films, which is Alamo Draft House, and they love their weird shit.
Yeah.
And so like it kind of makes sense. Um, but on like a $45,000 budget, I think they achieved what they wanted to achieve. I think.
This is,
I
this is
gave
the most like lack of confidence I've seen in you
I
since we
yeah,
started.
because like I don't know, I don't know, dude. I don't know how to feel about this film. I gave it a blatant 6 out of 10. I think mostly because I think it's not one that I would like to rewatch
No.
unless I'm showing somebody it and I'm laughing more at their reaction to it than the movie.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the experience, and what an experience it was. What are your thoughts?
So I had actually seen Hoskins, what's his first name? The director?
Jim.
Jim Hoskins' subsequent movie, called An Evening with Beverly Loughlin. And that one, I think it's a lot slower than this one. It's a lot less gross, but it's also like, it's still got that same like kind of like Napoleon Dynamite style dialogue where it's where, you know, and so I really like that movie. I like almost everything that Aubrey Plaza's in, and Jermaine Clement as well. They're both in it and they're both great. But this one I knew of the Greasy Strangler's reputation. But I didn't know anything about the movie. I assumed it was about a strangler covered in grease. And yeah, but I didn't know that the two movies were linked. And then when I was like just Googling it and during the ads for this movie, and I was like, oh shoot, it's the same guy. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But this movie is very different, and I really like a movie that can, like, usually I actually kind of like movies that can gross me out if they're horror or comedy. This movie's trying to be a little bit of both. And there's an interesting and like peculiar catharsis that comes out of seeing something that you really don't want to see. But the movie, I think, keeps it going for way too long. And
the original cut of this was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my god. Maybe it's just us or just me. Like maybe some audiences wanted like really love this all the way through. I don't know. I know the Draft House audience would probably be cheering throughout the entire thing. But of course I can get through gruesome killings. Of course I can get through like cringy nude scenes because I've seen movies that are worse in that regard than this one.
Mhm.
But every greasy food scene in this movie made me gag so hard. I
Yup.
could hear myself gagging through my headphones. Um, like you can smell this movie. It's so
Mhm.
so I want to be clear to the audience. Like this is a positive review. But I'm giving it a lower score because um, if I was a journalist and I was just grading this on based on its weirdness and how well it appeals to the weird cinema audience, it's a 3.5 to 4 star movie out of 4. But for me, it's a 6.4. I can't really. I don't want to watch this movie again. Um,
Yeah.
I maybe I'll listen to the music if anything. If I revisit anything.
Mhm. Did you have a least favorite greasy food moment?
Oh my
Because I
god.
think mine is dipping the hot dog directly into the vat of grease.
I I don't even want to think about it. That's exactly it. Like, cause like we were both in food service. Like we've cleaned that stuff out. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh my
ugh.
god.
Let me
It's
take a sip of my monster because I don't know what.
yeah. Do it. Yeah, it's a disgusting film all around. Um which it's which it's trying to be. And so like it achieves its goal. There's some weird fun facts about this movie I wrote down.
Do it.
They shout out to Amazon Prime for letting me know about them. Elijah Wood co-produced it.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Yup. All the genitalia are prosthetics, which
I
I
figured.
guess would yeah, it's pretty obvious when you get to Big Ronnie. Um, what a disgusting penis! what a what a rancid dog red rocket of a penis.
And yet I can't like the way they shoot it. I can't take my eyes off it, even though I want to.
No, no, you can't. It is drawn to you center frame. All the grease used in the film is tapioca pudding,
Ooh,
which may relieve some of the ick for you. But it looks exactly like hardened bacon grease the entire time. Like it
yeah,
looks good. Production design for what they're trying to do is excellent.
yeah.
It's repulsive, but it's excellent because it's repulsive. And Big Ronnie, Michael St. Michael's, was John Travolta's hairdresser. John
Whoa,
Travolta gets a little nod at the end. They're homies. He cuts John Travolta's hair.
that's awesome.
Um, yeah, this movie, it's got like I think because I watched this after Green Grass, which is like obviously satire, like
Yeah,
to a point where it's like kind of okay, chill out a bit.
right.
um, and so when I was watching this, I was like, what are they trying to like say and like tell the audience? Um, and the closest I could come is a story about fatherhood,
Yeah,
and like try to like um I don't know, accept your father and your son for who they are. And don't let women get between you. Um, but it's I don't know if it accomplishes that well.
yeah,
It is a cute moment when Big Braden becomes the second Greasy Strangler. And they like reflect on it after. It's wholesome in a way.
yeah.
Um, I
You
don't.
could also read it though, like you know, because the relationship is pretty abusive. Like,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
yeah, so you could read it like, oh, now the abuser like wins because he gets full control over the kid.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But the
I
kid
don't know.
also
I don't know
chooses
how
it,
to read.
which is
Yeah, it's
which is
not because
interesting.
he chooses it as a way to like. Well, it's like kind of a reveal, but like it's implied that it's so he could take down his father. But then he kind of just chooses to join him instead.
Yeah, It's interesting.
And so I think that agency has something to do with it, but also you could make the case that he chose it because he's been abused and it's all he knows is following his greasy papa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think even the writer of the film thought that in depth about it. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's just
interesting
the
'cause
greasiest slasher I've ever seen.
yeah, I agree. And uh the it also like it's also like shot really well and lit really well. And
Yeah.
I think that adds like a whole layer of weird because it's like you don't get what's happening and you like are grossed out by what you do get. And then, but it's like really beautifully lensed and like really like there's like
Yeah.
nice red neon everywhere. There's but the nice cinematography is like it's contrasted with like really drab and really ugly mise en scène.
Mhm.
I think the costumes like really communicate what the characters are about, which is cool. But
The
uh,
costumes, most of which is underwear or nothing.
yeah. uh, but yeah, like I don't know how I would fix the writing because like you can't really
No.
you
It
can't
would
really
lose
do
its
anything to it.
style.
Yeah, it would because there's a lot of specificity to the dialogue. It's also very like long-winded. There's a lot of repetition. I think they say I tried to count how many times they say bullshit artist and I lost count at like 50.
Yeah. There's one scene alone that would fuck you up.
Um but yeah, it's at the same time it's like it's not great writing, but it's like kind of interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
The hootie tootie disco cutie is pretty interesting too. The
One of my new
chanting.
go-to compliments.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to talk about something because like the audience like you kind of gotta experience it for yourself to really
Yeah,
get a
it's
sense
not
of like
something that like we're gonna do justice.
yeah, it's like yeah, it's kind of like if you like Napoleon Dynamite, it's like that, but like almost X-rated version of that. Like um and yeah, I don't know really what else to
Yeah. We were talking about the dialogue. There's some gems in there. I
yeah.
wrote down some lines that stuck out. Like I could feast on that queen's ass all night long. Or when he's getting the hot dog, which is a terrible scene in so many ways. He goes on a monologue about the hot dog, saying how there's not enough grease on it, and he says, "I need this dog to lubricate the world. I need enough grease so this dog can lubricate my throat."
Yeah, like it's funny too. Like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, like even though I was grossed out, like the comedy is like pretty good. Like
yeah.
I laughed a lot. I even laughed at like the nonverbal scenes when it was just Ronnie, like or Big Ronnie, like someone saying something and he would just and I was like, what's wrong with this dude? Man?
Yeah, or his like random singing in the rain moment where he's just dancing down the street with a spotlight on him, and then the spotlight disappears, and he just like walks out, and there's just no reason for
Yeah.
any of it.
I think they're trying to say it's like in Janet's imagination, but then you hear the switch. So it's
Yeah.
like you hear the light switch turning on and off. So I don't know. I don't know.
And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's also some incredible side characters. Janet herself. I like that they commit to the whole world being weird and not just Ronnie and Braden.
Yeah.
You got characters like Janet who are deeply disturbed, and Oinker, who's a pig man for who knows why.
Dude.
Um,
So
yeah.
weird.
In the trivia section, it said that he was inspired by B.J. Wheeler, and then I looked up B.J. Wheeler, and there were like 0 results that would pertain to anything for this film, and so I have
Cool.
no idea who B.J. Wheeler is, but
Some hipster thing, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, there was like some weird connection to Soul Train that like kind of popped up, so maybe he was on that. I don't know. Yeah, Oinker's a crazy, kind of flamboyant character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like this movie. I really don't know what to say about it. We could go into favorite scenes if you want.
Well, like I got
Um,
some questions for you.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
like?
there was another. Actually, hold on. There was another line that I feel like deserves mentioning, where he says, "$15 for a luxurious, creamy pussy ass daiquiri, motherfuckers. It's not a drink; it's liquid sex."
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's weird that he has the. I guess it's not weird because it's part of the story, but that he has so much nostalgia for the disco era.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Oh, like what are your thoughts about like the sexual content in the film? Because there's a lot of it, and it's part of the abuse storyline, but it's
Yeah.
also like just played for comedy too.
Yeah. I think it works, because in the comedy side, there wasn't a time I didn't laugh, at the quick cut of him in the car wash getting just beat the shit out of,
Right.
with his little dick swinging around. Um, it was horrifying, but I laughed literally every time out loud to myself.
Yeah.
Um, and then, like, for the storyline, it also works, because they are fighting over Janet's love, and she is such a sexual being.
Right.
They make allusions, or no, they just outright say it, that Braden's never been with a woman. I think the line is, "Does she know that you've never even stuck a finger in a pussy?" or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and
Goodness
so, like,
gracious.
I think it services the story enough.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like it, but
Yeah.
I think it's warranted, and they do a good job with it. I don't think it'd be the same film without it, and I think it would have been. I really like how they commit. They commit to making this the fucking weirdest, and without the nudity, it wouldn't quite have that charm.
Sure. I think this is not reaching very far, but like even in An Evening with Beverly Loughlin, the only like sex scene is with two like I don't want to is with two chunkier folks, and so I
You're
think
just trying so hard to phrase that in a non-offensive way.
and that's every scene and every sexual scene in this movie is like that. So I feel like that's kind of a big fetish for Hosking, but I don't know why or like what he's trying to say with it. I think it's just something that he likes to show on. Maybe is like because I don't know if he's trying to like make you cringe at it or if he just really genuinely likes this stuff and like or likes that kind of an image and goes for it. It's interesting.
Yeah, I I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't slide in his DMs and ask if he's what his reasons were
Did
for
you
any of this.
right? Did you pick up any cinematic influences? Because Greener Grass, like they wear their influences on their sleeve, but this one, I don't know.
Not really. I mean, I don't really dive too deep into just weird cinema. Like,
Yeah.
I guess outsider cinema. Because a lot of this movie, there is posters from like a comic book and some of the works of Daniel Johnston, who is very talented. I love his music too. And so like I kind of saw that and just like that kind of outsider music and outsider just like general media. But I haven't dived too deep into it to like really pick up on anything specific.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, did you
No.
see any? The shot of his cock swinging in the car wash is from Pulp
No,
Fiction.
it feels kind of like Nickelodeon-ish or Adult Swim-ish, but
Yeah.
like I don't know if that's intentional. What did you make of the ending?
Because
it's
the ending.
It ends pretty suddenly, but it's also like
Yeah.
weird.
So, for those who decided not to subject themselves, first off, I'm disappointed in you. Second off, the film ends with them chasing. What was his name?
Something
Something Prickles. I
Donnie?
wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, Ronnie Prickles. No,
Ron
Ronnie was the main character's name. Ricky Prickles.
Ricky Prickles.
Ricky Prickles. So they decide together as a family to hunt down Ricky Prickles. There's a brief scene of them chasing him through the woods, which is actually hilarious because like, oh, you can't catch me out, Ricky Prickles. And then it just randomly cuts to Hunter shooting the shit out of both of them. Their heads explode into confetti, and then they're in the wilderness hunting with spears. I kind of took it as they're cunning and they got away, but now they're forced to live as exiles of society. But also it could be a fantasy that they got away and like they actually just got fucking murdered by some rednecks. But I think the confetti was like too out there to like try to have it be some weird afterlife imagination of what happened. So I think they got away. I think they're cunning boys at the end of the day, because they also didn't have any grease on them, and so they would have gotten caught with grease. And I don't think they had any car washes around Ricky's place. So
yeah, I kind of took it like something similar to that, where it like they see their deaths in like coming, like that they're gonna die eventually and that they're gonna get caught eventually, but they don't care, and so they go out into the world. That's kind of what I took. But
I do like the fourth wall break with the spears where they kind of threaten the audience. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's a great last shot. Like I was like, ooh, nice. So good.
Yeah, it's a wild ride for sure. It's been a weird week of cinema for me because like I watched Impedagore per your recommendation, and then this and Greener Grass, and like I don't know, I've just been in a weird mindset because of it all.
Fair enough.
My brain just doesn't work.
We broke Jared. Go for it.
Do you have a favorite kill in the movie?
Oh yeah, punching the guy's
it is
face
like
in.
kind of slashery. What?
Punching the guy's face in and it caves in.
The first one where it's like flat.
Yeah, it was great. That's exactly what I want. And that's kind of where I saw the Adult Swim vibes, was that scene specifically too.
Yeah, and even like the weird, like, what are the chips made out of? Dialogue that precedes it, and it goes so long.
Potato.
Yeah, what are you? Potato. It's so insane. But I kind of see that. It's even got like some hot rod in there, just like that internet age, hyper intense everything needs to be doing something type of dialogue and action. Yeah, I see the Adult Swim, Nickelodeon a little less so, just because I think the adult scenes just jaded my idea of associating Nickelodeon. But I definitely see like Adult Swim in there for sure, and like
Yeah.
Robot Chicken type, but like live action.
Yeah, yeah. Like like the humor is very juvenile and very like gross, but I think that's kind of what. Yeah, that's the flavor that they like.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kill?
Either that or it's probably a tie between that and the hot dog guy, because it's the first time eyes pop out of their head and then
Oh
he
yeah, the
greases
eyes.
them up and then he eats them. And it's insane.
Yeah.
But also, like, I didn't know how, because the hot dog dude's gonna die. It's kind of established pretty early on that anybody who wrongs this greasy motherfucker is gonna get it.
Yeah.
And so, like, you don't really know exactly how it's gonna happen. And this movie jaded me so much that when hot dog guy was like sitting down to go on the toilet, I thought he was gonna shit out the window. I thought for sure he was gonna like sit on the window and just shit out of it, because this movie's so insane, and I hate that it made me think that.
I did too. I did too.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one, because the framing like is obviously so Grease Boy could reach into the window and strangle, but like it's set up that like it looks like he's gonna shit out the window, and you're gonna have to see human feces too.
So good.
Yeah, but one of those two. I like that the eyes popping out was a common thread throughout.
Yeah.
I did also really like the car wash man's death. It kind of is an outlier because he's not really mean to Big Ronnie at any
No.
point that I really thought. So he kind of goes away from his motives there. But him like disco dancing with with his head was a sight.
Dude, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to take a walking disco tour now though. This is the only part of the film that I would do.
I kind of want to walk through a car wash.
Yeah.
Not
And
naked.
I think it
Not
would
naked.
hurt like fucking crazy though. Like
Yeah,
those things
yeah.
are whipping around.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the gore, especially with the eyes and with Oinker's nose, is like actually pretty good. Like and,
Yeah,
and
when he like fingers Oinker's nose hole left.
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
But it like kind of recalls like 80s type horror where the gore is so over the top and
Yeah.
like but practical.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think I think you're right.
Yeah.
Favorite
Any other
scenes?
favorite scenes that we haven't mentioned?
I
For
think
me, it was kind of like the kills,
Yeah.
the car wash, the ending, and then Jody. I'll just pull through pretty quick. The scene
Yeah.
with Jody, the investigator, was pretty hilarious.
nice.
Yeah, those were mine.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only moments I enjoyed the film.
Yeah. I like the spotlight dance. I think it's tied with the first hootie tootie disco cutie scene. Cause I love like the ferocity in Janet and Ronnie's expressions when they're chanting it. Cause they're like spitting out the words hootie tootie disco cutie.
Cutie.
At his face, and he's so pathetic, and he's crying, and they're dancing, and it's weird, and I hate it. But it's it's a singular scene. Like you won't find anything else like it anywhere.
Nope.
So that's why I would give it my favorite scene title.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other closing thoughts about the film?
Not really. I think I'm with Star Luna, in that
Yeah.
the more I think about it, more it lingers on my body. Like,
Yeah.
I need to go through a car wash to wash this film off of me. But that said, I still enjoyed it. It was still an entertaining one, but
Yeah.
one that I am fine never experiencing.
Yeah. I maybe if they cut back on like a couple of the gross scenes, I would have liked it a little bit more. But it's just because for some reason, because I've seen like I don't know, I've seen worse movies, but for some reason this one just I could taste it
It's
and I could
just the
smell
food,
it,
yeah.
and I was like, oh man, I can't handle it. And so I was like, I've seen cannibal movies that I could handle better than this movie, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greasy Strangler.
It's
Check
free
it
on
out.
Prime
Yeah.
with ads, and it's the only movie you'll welcome the advertisement.
Like, thank God I get a break.
Oh, yeah. Go watch it if you want.
If you
not,
dare.
it's fine.
If you want to run,
We didn't really sell anybody on it.
if you want to run the gauntlet that is the Greasy Strangler, go check it out.
Yeah,
Shall we get into greener grass?
I think we shall. But before we do,
Cool.
Bad reviews.
our boy Quen Chow has something to say, and everybody's favorite segment, Jared reads poorly written reviews of movies that we're watching because it's funny and it makes him laugh and stuff. Uh, today we're talking greener grass, and so is this motherfucker. He says, definitely not a comedy film. Too many slow motion close up scenes and overuse of the disgusting scene bored to freaking death.
Yeah.
Giving it a 1 out of 10. Real long title, by the way. You don't need to start the review with the title.
I didn't even realize that was the title.
Yeah. This one falls. There's a couple categories. I feel like you could categorize the bad reviews. There's the ones that are just plain wrong. There's ones that are too aggressive, and there's one that have like terrible grammar and just are hard to read. This falls into the latter.
Hell yeah. Hell
Which
yeah.
are my least favorite because I have to struggle through them.
And that's why they're my favorite.
Yeah. This film starts with a mother, Jill, watching her son playing soccer, and she give away her baby daughter to her friend Lisa scene. As turn out, this film is about Jill desperately wanting to possess a child after her son turned into dog, and she can't get her baby daughter, get back her baby daughter. Entire film full of slow motion close-up facial scene. Make the film unwatchable. The overuse of the disgusting scene also make the film too bored to watch, such as kissing until saliva come out, the food throw on the floor but still eating it, a mother in the footage spit at the baby's food but still feeding the baby with the food. That at the end, Jill adopt a colored daughter and watching the soccer game. That's it. Another super boring film. Weirdly racist at the end.
Wait. Goodness gracious. Yeah, the way he wrote, or the way they wrote that sounds like my notes. Like they just read.
Yeah.
They're just reading.
Like every sentence has an exclamation mark. I don't know if it translated, but like all those were full sentences. Like entire film full of slow motion close up facial scene. Like that's full stop. That's the sentence.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
I'm glad this is they watched this movie because they I wish I could show this one to the whole world just to see like what would happen to people's reactions and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember watching the trailer because I follow IFC on YouTube, and so I see all their channel trailers and stuff. And I remember seeing this one and thinking like, wow, that looks amazing. And then I totally forgot about it, but then it just popped up on Hulu in October 2019. So that's when we watched it. Watched it with my brother and my parents too, and they did not like the movie, but I think my brother and I both liked it. Um, I this movie is like so weird, like to the point where you don't even know what's happening in some scenes.
Mhm.
It's that kind of like surrealist. They definitely wear on their sleeves the influences from John Waters and David Lynch, both of whom
Mhm.
are filmmakers who use like surrealism or hyper realism to not satirize, but like, well, John Waters did satirize, but David Lynch was. It's just like just to explore like the weirdness of suburbia, of American
Yeah.
suburbia.
Mhm.
The story follows two families. One specifically the moms, Jill, played by Jocelyn DeBoer, and Lisa, played by Dawn Luby. Both of them also wrote and directed the film together.
Mhm.
And so you see this kind of, and so I really appreciate that the film has that creative unity. Basically, the film is about um, uh, their jealousy of each other, um, and this constant like trying to catch up to each other. And eventually, Lisa starts systematically taking over parts of Jill's life from jealousy. And so, even though there's a serial killer on the loose, the biggest danger to Jill is her own best friend. And so, I really really enjoyed it. Both times that I watched it, I like the dialogue. It's kind of like full of surprises. It feels
Mhm.
like almost like because they did start. I saw an interview with them, and they started out as sketch comics, and so and then they moved to LA together. And so the blocking and the tone and the design are all really married with this dialogue that kind of um, that like starts out like, oh, I can get what's happening in this movie, and then you don't get what's happening in the scene. And
Yeah.
I like that everything is heightened in that way. I think the acting is also like really sincere, and I think that adds to the funny in this movie.
Mhm.
Um, lot of lot of themes that they're juggling, but they hit them hard. But I think sometimes they hit them a little too hard, especially in the third act. I think they could have. I think the third act could have been a lot funnier. Um, so even though I really enjoy this movie, I gave it like a 7.6.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I'm in pretty much agreement, especially with the hitting them too hard, and the third act kind of being eh. Um, yeah, I think it's hilarious. I think it's
Hmm.
batshit crazy. I think it's super surreal, but it does it well. Like it
Yeah,
clearly has something to say, and it also wears that on its sleeve pretty hard. Like it's not going to be subtle at any point
no,
whatsoever, not even a little bit. And so I think that that works both in its favor and against it at times. Sometimes I was like rolling my eyes because if you're too on the nose, you kind of lose some cleverness in the comedy. I feel like, and so I kind of docked at points there. Uh, However, I think this is one of the films that like right after I watched it, I was like, okay, that was good. I enjoyed it.
yeah,
But like the more I like think about it, the more I like it. And so I'll give it a 6.8 out of 10.
nice.
Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was strange. I think also one thing that I kind of docked it for was the acting. Um, while they're all good comedic actors, I think their improv like background, improv and sketch comedy background shows a bit. It's just like a different style of acting, and it fits with the style of the film for the most part. But then you compare it to like, what's his name? One of the husbands, Jocelyn's husband, or
Jocelyn's
Jill's
husband,
husband,
Nick Beck Bennett.
Nick. Yeah. Like you could tell that he has more of like a film background, and so he plays it more like film rather than sketch. And I kind of liked that performance style a little more in
Interesting.
this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which parts
I
did
think
you
that
roll?
just
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
personal taste though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely like this movie like will hit you. Will hit everybody in a different way. I think.
Hmm.
What did you? Which parts did you roll your eyes at specifically? If you can remember.
Let's see if I took a note. I don't know. Like, I think it was just a bit like on the nose. I don't know if I wrote down any exact ones.
Yeah.
Kind of blanking. I'm all greased up after it. But like there is a lot of like genuinely funny moments
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
does it well. That said, I don't know why everybody has braces. I don't know why everybody's driving golf carts everywhere. Um,
We can
maybe
get into
just
that.
that like that idealism. Yeah, we'll get into it. But there are like genuinely funny moments. Like, oh, I don't want to be an Indian giver, and she's like, oh, you can't say that. It's like, I don't want to be a Native American giver.
And then
Like
she
that
nods
shit's
like.
like, okay, we got it. Um, yeah, like that, or I brought you taco dip. Ooh, 7 layers? No, 5. You can put it on the floor. Like there's genuinely funny moments.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sometimes it's just like I don't know. It didn't quite hit the mark all the time for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think the parts where that didn't work for me were the commercials. Um,
I loved the commercials,
oh, really?
honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Something about them was just super weird because I feel like those were like sketches, and like that's kind of where they shine,
Right.
rather than the linear plot. Uh, like the baking show was fucking hilarious. You will be judged on the height of the cake and the heat of the flame, but then they make everybody switch cakes for some reason. Like I don't know, it was just funny in its arbitrariness.
Yeah, they're funny, but like I don't know. I feel like those are like you mentioned the themes being hit too hard. Like that's kind of where I felt it.
Yeah.
For me at least. So maybe it's kind of just an opposite thing. But I don't know. Like I'm really like into like the breakdown of a suburb family or not breakdown, but like what's it called? Deconstruction of a suburb family and like
Mhm.
just like tackling and poking fun at all the stupid stuff that families do or the stupid stuff that couples do or that people say to each other in the suburbs. And I think that like that was the theme that resonated with me the most. And I think it's really present in the design. There's a lot of pastel colors and like really pristine angles in the thing, and like even even the compositions are like super nice and neat. I know our lovely internet reviewer uh, didn't like the slow motion close up zooms, but those were some of my favorite shots in the movie.
Yeah.
Especially when they have the opening credits playing out over Jocelyn's like
Yeah. It's like twitching.
yeah yeah it's a very like fragile smile, and I like that about the movie. The braces, according to them, are just a symbol for the movie overall. Like the
Mhm.
idea that you have
Just like
this,
the desire for perfection.
yeah, like everybody wants to look younger, everybody wants to look more perfect, everybody wants to look absolutely pristine, and yet the like they like that very desire hurts you in the same way that braces do, or causes you pain at least. Um, It was originally actually pitched as a 6-season show, which
Yeah.
I don't
Wasn't
know.
it also a short film before?
Yeah,
too?
they did the short film first, and then they pitched it to IFC as a TV show, and the IFC was like, "Nah." It's like, okay, what about a feature? It's like, okay, yeah. Another.
Don't you hate when you have to settle for a feature?
Well, they were saying like it felt like a relief because like they could just like hit the most important stuff that they wanted to hit. They what's her name? Jocelyn DeBoer, who plays Jill, said that like nothing in here is weird for weird's sake. Even Jill's clothes, Lisa's clothes, which change over the course of the film. So she starts out. So Jill. God, Jill is pink the entire time. Her clothes are pink the entire time. But Jill starts out blue, which is kind of like the opposite.
Lisa
And then-
starts out blue.
Sorry. Shoot. Lisa starts out blue, and as she takes over more aspects of Jill's life, her clothes get purple, and then by the end, she's fully dressed in pink, even wearing the same pink underwear scarf that Jill had. Yeah, dude. What other thing did you not know? What other the golf carts?
Oh, the golf carts. I kind of assumed some wealth symbol because golf is a rich white people sport. But yeah, that's about where that analysis died.
Yeah. I feel like the movie it's kind of interesting because they don't really specify the year that the movie's set in. But you do feel like and there's no cell phones, there's no cars. And I think that's a key thing in the setting of
I
the
mean,
film.
outside of the town there's like a semi truck and shit.
Oh yeah.
But in suburbia, there's not cars.
Yeah. And so because I think that's kind of the reason why they did. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I think they just wanted to keep everything like within the same era, or within like a kind of mystery era, like make it timeless.
Yeah. It kind of, with that and like the production design, it feels like, those like 1960s, like, this is the house of the future. Like,
Yeah.
kind of shit. Like, it feels like a creation of those, like, imaginations of what life would be like in the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's great. And yeah. Anything else you wanted to dive into? What else did you like or not like?
Not too much. It was mostly positive. I don't know. I didn't think it was like incredibly like clever or anything. Like, I don't know. It was just a weird middle ground for me that like I liked it a lot, but I don't know why.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It feels like Too Many Cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a movie of that. Like it had Too Many Cooks energy, where it's just like obviously satire on like a situation and a genre, and it just goes like to 11 with it.
Yeah.
Especially scenes like when Lisa picks up a soccer ball, puts it in her dress, and now it's her child all of a sudden. Like it's just insanity. But it has like a purpose, but also I don't know. I don't know.
It's very hard
I'm having
to
a mental breakdown this whole week.
Oh man. Yeah, it's very hard to like review these kinds of movies because you're not really like you can deconstruct them, but like I feel like with something like Greener Grass or even something like Greasy Strangler, like it's kind of your first intuition about the movie that matters the most, and like how you feel about the thing as a whole. And so yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Like it's hard to kind of talk about this film a lot. But what else did I want to say? Oh, I know we both mentioned not liking the third act as much. Did you have a reason why?
Honestly, I could have done without the whole serial killer thing. Like, I don't think you really needed it.
Right.
And I liked what you had to say in your intro that like there's a serial killer on the loose, but the biggest danger is herself. And I like that the serial killer provides like this outsider who desperately wants to be a part of this society and like to fit in, but he don't. Or I guess she don't, depending on if it's a trans positive film or not. Um, yeah, but like I don't know. It also kind of distracted from the satirical take on it. And like in the end, Jill's breakdown is cool, and it's nice that once she leaves and comes back, like um, views this society different. Um, but like I don't know, they don't quite hit things too hard in those moments. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
just like we're gonna wrap things up, but we're gonna put what we were doing well kind of on the back burner and not really like deal with that anymore. Like we gave you that, we're just gonna move on to this different thing now. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of turns into I agree. Like it kind of turns into a different movie cuz for
Mhm.
the first like how long is it? 90 minutes? Like the first 60 minutes you're just laughing at Jill. But then
Yeah.
when her resolve starts to crack and then you're like rooting for her, but it's like not that funny. And
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of why I like the first and second acts a lot more than the third. But yeah, I don't know. What do you make of the ending? Because
Of
it
her
ends
like
on a
ripping braces off.
well, like just
Or
being back at the soccer game and the realization of the graves and then
yeah, the
ending on her
graves I
face.
was kind of confused on.
I don't know
Maybe
either.
because they're so blinded by like the perfection that they never noticed that like the dark underbelly of the society and therefore the field.
Could be.
Um, but like I don't know. I like that she had a different outlook. I think it comes like too suddenly. It would have been cool if, like, if they had nixed the serial killer thing, which would be disappointed because my favorite scene comes directly out of that. Um, if they had nixed it and just had her like realize since she doesn't have a family and she's now the outsider, she just slowly notices these like weird dark things that she was blinded to before.
Mm,
That way you could keep the satire going. You could drag it out like an extra 15 minutes and take your time with it. She can be like, "Why the fuck are they playing on these graves?" And he was like, "What? Yeah, they've always. What do you mean? Like, yeah, why wouldn't you?" And
yeah.
then she could take the place of the audience where she realizes, "Oh, these people are fucking insane," and then I think it'd be a better, more satisfying ending. But I like that she still got to that point.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's kind of it is too quick.
Yeah,
I do like the shot of the referee telling her like out of bounds, and then she immediately
yeah.
and just shuts her down as soon as
I
she
think that
makes
was
that.
one part I rolled my eyes at when she was like out of bounds. I was like, okay, yeah, we get it. She's different. But
um, and then they kind of, I think the final shot is her trying to smile again. But yeah, it makes me wonder what happens after that. Like,
Mhm.
does she actually try to leave, or does she keep staying
Maybe
and keep trying to smile?
I have a theory.
What?
Theory time. Jared has a theory. The serial killer was the
Mm,
first person who realized society was different. But instead of leaving, they tried to fit in even though they didn't. And so now they're trying to adopt the lives of these people. And so her fate is to do the same and just become this weird serial killer impersonator person trying to fit
ooh, I like it. I like it. I
in.
like it. Part of me was like, when the first time I watched, I don't think this anymore, but the first time I watched it, I was like, are they in purgatory the entire time? Or like maybe this is hell?
It's The Good Place, the movie.
Right? Like I was thinking that, but like I don't think that's true. But
No.
yeah, it is kind of cool that they let us like wonder what happens to Jill after. I wonder
Yeah.
like how a sequel would go, because I know if they had 6 seasons worth of story ready to go, maybe they're doing a sequel. I don't know. The movie didn't
Maybe.
make much money, so
Yeah. I would be shocked if we got a sequel. And I think it stands on its own pretty much.
yeah.
I don't know where they would go. Unless they did take my route, but then you're just one of those shows that are rehashing the same exact thing over and over again, Walking Dead. So I don't
Yeah, dude. Favorite scenes. What are
Yeah.
yours?
My number one favorite scene is the yoga class with the
Okay.
substitute teacher. Where he says like, "Oh, the teacher didn't leave a lesson plan, so we're just gonna watch a movie, and it's Twister." Um, I laughed so hard at that for some reason. It was so good, and like even the callbacks to it, where Lisa's like, "Oh, you should try it. It's so easy." Like talking about yoga. Yeah, so that was definitely number one. When she goes and visits what's her face after she gets a divorce, which her whole bit where like nobody cares that she's getting a divorce, but she wants everybody to know is hilarious too.
Yeah.
But that's where that like 7-layer dip line comes in. I thought that was great.
And then the husband tries to run away with the kid. And then the other kid's like, "Daddy, I
Now
want to
you have
come
no
too."
time.
So good.
Yeah, like that whole scene was fantastic. I like how I know you don't like the TV, but after Bob, Lisa's kid, watches Kids with Knives and turns into like just the biggest piece of shit. I thought that was hilarious too.
Yeah.
Also, Bald Men with Bouquets was also a great TV show with Mr. Steve, Mr. Mike, and Rick's there too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like most of mine were just like jokes that I loved, but I think those were some of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. I like all those scenes. I think more than the TV scene, I like people's reactions to them, like especially Kids with Knives. Like to me, the funny part about that was just like, it's Kids with Knives? It's on the TV?
You let him watch Kids with Knives?
Like
Like it has this reputation.
yeah, exactly. Like that's what I liked about that. But my favorite scenes were like just the really like absurd ones. When she's talking to the homeroom teacher, Miss Human, and she's like talking about the
every
beanbag.
Miss Human scene was also up there for sure.
She's great. She's so good. Darcy Carden or something, I think is her name. But she's talking about she's like Julian Pete in the beanbag chair. She's like, "Oh, I can take the cover home and wash it." And she's like, "No, I got into the things." It's like, "Oh, I can replace it if you want." It's like, "No, my mother made the beanbag chair before she killed my father and my brother and my sister." Like those, it's like 3 twists in just one sentence. It's like, what the hell happened, dude?
Or like when she's like, "Okay, kids, I want you to pick 5 of your best friends and picture how they die if they were pioneers."
She's so good. I also I love the editing when she confronts when the serial killer confronts her in the kitchen, or when I think they just bump into each other actually. But that confrontation, like it's the most 180 breaks I've ever seen in one scene.
Exactly 180 degrees.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I love the editing there. I like that the movie is pretty consistent with like the transitions. Like it's always interesting, even though even in the sequences that I don't like. I think I also love the scene the scene of Nick swimming in the pool and drinking the water as he's swimming. Because
His obsession with the pool water is
he's so stupid. He eats a popsicle of it.
great. At the restaurant, he's like, "No, I don't drink that shit. I brought my own."
Yeah.
The restaurant was also one of my favorites. When
That
they're
is-
too polite to like tell the waiters that they want different food.
Yeah, dude. That is my favorite scene because it's all one shot and it just the camera just pulls back and pans down real quick or real slow to them eating their lunch off the floor. Like, it's okay, don't worry about it. I just I remember thinking like when I watched it the first time, I was like, yep, I'm sold on this movie. Like that was the scene that got me. Yeah. So good. So good. Greener grass. Any other thoughts you got?
Not really. Oh, why do you think they turned into a dog? We had some love on the leash moments here.
I think I don't know. I think they kind of just wanted to poke fun at like the way fathers like think about sons and like what an ideal son should be. Like to Nick, his ideal son, even before he turns into a dog, is a dog, right? Someone who can go get the ball, someone who runs really fast, someone who who eats everything that they're served. So I that's kind of what I took out of it. I also just love the absurdity of like it just happens and
All of a sudden.
yeah.
I had like PTSD from Love on a Leash. I was like, no. This motherfucker falls in love, I'm gonna be pissed.
Please. I also like that like the dog is like a young dog. Like it's like kind of the same age as the kid.
Yeah.
So
it kind of like looks like him too. Like he would turn into that dog.
yeah, exactly.
Great casting.
Great casting. So good. Also want to shout out Neil Casey as Dennis, who plays Lisa's husband. I forgot to shout him out. Yeah.
I will say my favorite character name is Citronella.
Who's that again?
It was the daughter of the divorcee. So
Oh,
like
okay,
not
okay,
one
okay.
of the sons. She has like another daughter, and she like
Right.
tries to bring her something. She's like, "Not now, Citronella." And I was like, "That's hilarious." And I love it.
Yeah, dude.
White people.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Well, if you want this fun little satire, you can go check it out on Hulu. I think Greener Grass is on there indefinitely because it was released, I think, on Hulu at the same time that it came out in theaters. So you can go check it out there. It's a short, funny, fun movie. And like I said, you could check out The Greasy Strangler on IMDb TV on Amazon Prime. Yeah. Anything you want to leave the audience with, Jared?
No.
Yeah. It's our shortest
I'm over 'em.
episode so far.
I know. Look at us go. We need to do weird movies more often.
Weird movies where we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
A series. I do want to show you Blue Velvet at some point because I want you to.
Yeah. I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay,
I haven't
okay.
really dove into enough Lynch. So I'd be down to do like a Lynch episode sometime.
Yeah. His episode analysis for him would be even weirder though, because he's like definitely like don't analyze, like just use your intuition. That's why I've kind of been hesitant to pick him, but honestly, like I'm down.
We can do an episode on our intuition.
Our intuition. I like it. The end.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh man. Alrighty. Well, thank you, Jared, for for doing this again. Thank you for the lights.
Yeah.
That looks so cool.
Yeah, we're getting a little fancy today. Had to spice things up a bit. You've got your
Yeah, dude.
3D glasses shtick, so I had to throw one to the homies, the YouTube homies.
Yep. And it's also nice because like this is the first episode with the two of us in a long time. I think.
I know. I've missed you.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to be alone. Next week
Just
we're
the
throwing that
two
right
of
back
us.
out the window.
We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. All right.
On that
We
note,
love you, audience.
on that flat, out of tune note. Let's get out of here. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Love you. Go watch these movies or don't. What's
Yeah.
up to you? Watch Greener Grass, Greasy Strangler. Watch at your own, at your own discretion.
And follow us on social media if you want.
Yep.
Goodbye.
See you.